Hey, I'm Sophie Dweck, and I'm an intern for UR Movement. I'm here with Sarah Baker.
Hi.
And she's a fashion blogger, and she wants people to embrace their body. Hi.
Hi.
What inspired you to start a blog on embracing body image?
So I was very lucky that I've had a lot of things inspire me sort of all at once. So this was really a culmination of things that I wanted to say to the world. And I was trying to figure out the right way to do that for a long time. And I found my voice through sort of a history of strong, independent women in my life. And women that were inspiring by being who they are. I would start definitely with my mom. She is one of the most incredible people I've ever met. And her whole thing for all of our life was to live out loud and be who you are and embrace yourself. Even when I was like wearing blue eyeshadow in 6th grade, she was like, I'm okay with it because you're doing you. So yeah, I think being around really strong and genuine women who were beautiful because of that, because they were independent, was really important to me. My little sister was also an incredible inspiration in the way of body image. She had struggled with issues in the past, and I'm her big sister, so always looked up to me in that way and really pushed me to do this. And then I started work in the modeling world and am different than other people sort of that are typically seen. So I think being a part of that and being able to act as a true voice on, sort of the new age of showing women in magazines and sort of a more genuine look at women has been a culmination of all those things to make just Sara Jane. So, yeah.
Why do you think it's so important to embrace your body?
Yeah. So I started modeling as well recently over the last 6 months, and it's really interesting to be part of that world, but also be someone who, you do care about the way you look and you want to look good and do things that make you feel good, but that really comes within yourself. Like, you can't be constantly looking at media and can't be consuming those messages all the time, because I think it really becomes very challenging to continue to love yourself. So for me, it was sort of a translation between realizing that I am doing things that are public, but I was finding that within myself and that confidence within yourself, because sometimes that's really all you have. At the end of the day, if you're putting out the right energy into the universe about loving yourself, other people will see that too.
You're absolutely right. What made you get into fashion in the first place?
Yeah. So I've always loved fashion. I think fashion is an awesome way to express yourself. And I think it's a really fun way to play with different things and experiment. And, we all have our staple things that we love to wear. But I think also moving to New York, I'm an original New Yorker, but I spent some time in the South. I went to college down there. So after coming back to New York, I was just embracing the crazy kinetic energy of the city and people wearing different and cool things, and I love it, and who doesn't love that about New York? It's awesome. So for me, it was really exploring that and figuring out different parts of myself and expressing my independence, and fashion for me was that outlet.
Wow, that's great. So as you know, this week was the Victoria's Secret fashion show.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I did watch parts of it.
What did you think of it?
It's a hard question to answer. And normally with Victoria's Secret, obviously they're beautiful women, and I think that they love themselves, and I think that's great. Generally, my theory on Victoria's Secret and media in general is I think it's really great when true beauty is depicted. And the hardship with Victoria's Secret and these models that don't look like the average woman is it really makes it hard for women who don't look like that, and the person who is just an average person thinking that I need to look like this. And they also do, a lot of post-production touching, so retouching of the images. So a lot of it isn't even what you are seeing when you're seeing it on TV. It's not necessarily what actually is there. So I really encourage, and I'm really behind showing genuine beauty, in whatever form that takes. And sometimes it's, there are a lot of magazines now that are doing no Photoshop policies, which is awesome. And then there are places that are still doing it, but are sort of moving toward showing less of a atypical, model and more real beauty. And I'm really supportive of that.
As you said about the Victoria's Secret fashion show, the night I was watching it, I was like, oh, I'm going to die the next day. Like, it's awful. And I was reading that these models, they're like, I work out so much the month before, and it's insane. Yeah. It's insane. Why do you think the media continues to expect, like, women to be so pretty and, like, perfect and skinny? Like, what's up with that?
Yeah. It's hard because I think it really comes down to, like, the consumer. And if the consumer is going to end up, like, changing their thoughts behind it, then it's really going to change. But until that happens, I think it's going to continue to be the same. So we as consumers have been our minds have been just ingrained to believe that this is what we want. We need this product to make us feel this way. We need to be this size to feel good about ourselves. But there are women who are changing that. There are companies who are changing that. And media messaging is taking shape, I think, in a different direction. And I think once that sort of hits the consumer, and once that, it's going to take a long time, I think. Maybe, hopefully not too long, but maybe. I think it will take a long time. But once that really starts to happen, and we're seeing more of it, things like the Dove commercials, where it's, real women use these products and makes them feel beautiful. I think we will start to get to a point where it's not uncommon to be seeing that in the media, and that will, change the way I think we feel about ourselves as consumers.
Do you think the future there's going to still be photoshopping and airbrushing? Do you still think that's what's going to be happening in like magazines in the future?
Unfortunately, yes. I think that will happen for probably the foreseeable future. I think there will be places. I was lucky enough to be in a part of a magazine called Verily in one of their recent spreads, and they're a really amazing magazine that has a no Photoshop policy, where they are just really adamant about, they could fix like cropping of a picture or lighting, but they won't Photoshop you in a couple sizes smaller and, to fix your hairline or, so they really are big on portraying real beauty and real women in the media. And I think, hopefully there will be more, people that are doing things like that, because I think that message has been really well received. And I think other places will continue to do it, but maybe not at the extreme that they are today. Maybe sort of pulling back on that a little bit, because I think the genuine factor is really important to women. So
congratulations on being in a magazine. That's insane.
Thank you so much.
Have you ever been personally affected by the media and their portrayal of like body image and stuff?
Yes, definitely. I definitely have. I would say it was sort of in my earlier years of life, middle school, high school, the years that are tough on everyone, the awkward years. Hallelujah, the most awkward years. So I think they definitely were tougher years for me, because you were, at that age we were flipping through magazines and I would see people, and at that point I didn't understand why I didn't look like that, or how they were so perfect, and as I got older I was like, well, what is perfect? Like, what does that really mean? And is that what I'm seeing, or is that like what I feel within myself? And I think part of that is just growing up and starting to see the world and see what different people look like, and expand your horizons. And for me, a big part of that was moving to New York, or I guess sort of always being in this culture, but seeing that there are people that look different. There are a lot of people embracing differences, and I think that's huge. So since then, I've really been a lot more confident and really learned to love myself, and I think that's important.
That is really important. What do you have for do you have anything to say to your followers about like struggling with their body image? Like, what would you tell them if you
start by saying you're definitely not alone, and you shouldn't judge yourself for being that way. If you are, I think it's the most important to be gentle with yourself in general. I think that's the first step to like accomplishing anything, is remembering that like it's not the end of the world. Like this feels hard, but like you are able to take small steps to be who you want to be. And I also think in general with body image, I mean, I always like to sort of think on a couple key points. I think confidence should not come with a size chart. I think the more that you try to step away from that and remember that I am this size doesn't mean that you should feel a certain way. Women can be any number of different sizes today and fit into any number of different sizes of clothing in stores, and that doesn't put you in a certain box or make you a certain way. And I think it's really important, again, as I said before, to like love yourself, to pinpoint the things about you that make you unique and different. And that you can tell yourself that every day and sort of affirm those things. Like, I am great at this, or it doesn't even have to be a physical thing, because humans are complex and amazing. And if you're really pinpointing those things that you love about yourself, other people will see that.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you embrace your body?
Yeah. Let's see. I embrace my body by doing things that I like, and by wearing things that make me happy. H&M just had a really cool campaign that I was super jazzed about in their stores.
It has everything.
They do have everything. In their stores, they have signs everywhere that says, I can't remember exactly, but if it makes you happy, wear it, which I think is great. Like, I'm wearing this shirt that says "Stay Rad," which is so 80s/90s, but I love it and it makes me happy, and it's enormous, but great prices.
Yeah.
Great prices. This is actually from Urban, so that's a plug to Urban Outfitters. So I wear things that I enjoy. Maybe they're not, I don't know, maybe they're not the super coolest thing, but I'm trying it, and if it feels good, I'm going to do it. And I also, for me, really establishing the confidence is through helping other people, or not necessarily even helping, but just, there's the New York siren, the key sound of New York, is connecting with other people and talking about what confidence and style means to them. That's always really cool to me, to hear that. And then that sort of re-energizes me about my own confidence and my own style. So yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
So your favorite stores are H&M, Urban Outfitters?
Oh, girl, yes. H&M, TJ Maxx. I am a Maxxinista all the way. So TJ Maxx, Loft, Urban Outfitters. I really like thrift stores. I'm a big vintage accessories girl.
I read that about you.
Yeah, so I'm big about that, and I think everything is gonna end up taking a turn back. I've been wearing stuff from my mom's from the 80s. So
yeah, and the 90s.
And the 90s. I know. I was so yeah.
What is the motto you live by?
The motto I live by, I have two, but the first one, sorry. I have two. The first one is by Oscar Wilde, and it's "Be yourself. Everyone else is." Yes, quite a few. He's a funny guy, but "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken." Is really important to me, because I think it sort of establishes that key message of just really embrace yourself. And then the second one is I always try to think of every day as a new chance to be amazing. So
that's great. If you could change one aspect of society, what would you do? What would you change, and why?
That is so hard. I mean, in the theme of talking about women, I would say I think we're on the path of changing to a more real beauty established society, where we are accessing real women and their stories, and linking these stories and reminding people that they are who they are, and that's awesome. I think there are a lot of other things that I would want to change about the world, but if I can change this little small corner, that would be good for me.
And I'm sure you have a blog. Where can our followers find you? Your Tumblr, blog, what's?
Yeah. So you can find me on justsarajane.com. That's JUST Sarah SARAJNE.com. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram, which are accessible from my blog.